Just
All
went to the
right.
books.
Good morning. Exactly. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Taylor Beth. You all have met her already, so we're going to give her a little warm welcome. And we appreciate you for all of your help so far. So thank
Of
you.
course. Thanks for having me.
Feedback, of course. We're going to do like a little around the horn real quick. Usually we do like a what's hot, what do you appreciate in your current focus for the business? So
Okay.
we're going to go Libby, Carlos, and then Nick. Libby, I'll let you take it off, and then we'll give Taylor Beth some time to kind of go over some goals and ways that we can do like keep on improving. So, Libby, it's all you. What's hot? What do you appreciate in current focus?
All right. What's hot? So I'm actually right now in a Starbucks, but I just field trained with a top representative in our area just to see him because I'm also CDC, just so you're aware too. So I was able to see him do his team meeting and record him and everything. So that was pretty hot. David is great. And then something I appreciate. Um, I mean, I appreciate just being able to learn from each other. I mean, I know Nick and I talk a lot as well. So we're able to share. I mean, we're in different divisions and we've learned in different ways. So we're able to share some things with each other because, you know, even though divisions do stuff differently, we have some strengths and they have some strengths. So I think that's a really beautiful collaboration right there. And then to focus on the business, troubleshooting what the heck is happening with the people not completing their questionnaires. As I was just telling Taylor, like, what the heck? But and then who was next?
Carlos is next. Thanks, Libby.
Okay, cool. So what's hot is beating initial messages sent out, sending more messages on Instagram, and getting more responses on Instagram. So that's cool. Loving that. And what I appreciate is I appreciate Taylor for hopping on Zoom with me the other day and helping me out. I appreciate Nick as well for also doing the same with me and helping me figure some things out as well. So thank y'all. And current focus for the business is to get better responses, get more responses, and target those target schools or those quality schools for better results.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlos. Nick, you're up.
There we go. Cool. So I wouldn't say anything's hot right now. I'd say like a little steam, like you see that like the little whispers of smoke. That's essentially what it is. We have a couple cool reps that I mean they're studs, right? But we only have two, so that's why I say it's like a little steam. I want more. So that they're the steam. Now, what I appreciate them, and I appreciate all of you guys, and that because I spoke with all of you all, so I appreciate all of you on all our conversations that we had this week.
Also, Nick, happy birthday. We
Happy
should have started
birthday.
that way. Oh my gosh. That should have been your little what's hot. It's your birthday. That's a really big deal. Are you okay with unmuting? I have everyone as being able to unmute, but I'm clicking it.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Awesome. Maybe that's why, Nick, you had mentioned that you weren't sure if this meeting was like going to be a thing today. I brought it up on Sunday and I told Andy you said that, and she was like, "What do you mean? We plan for this every week." Maybe that's why. It's your birthday, like today? That's awesome. It's also my friend's birthday. Oh, very cool. More than one. Small world.
Yeah, it was just
Um,
a misunderstanding. I thought you meant divisional meeting, not like huddle. Yeah, it was just a
okay.
misunderstanding on my part.
Gotcha. I thought it could have been something like that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the mute button, but I'm unmuted, so that's good. I have power here.
I can send you guys a screenshot. It literally says that it's
I'll just
everyone's
leave
able to
like
unmute, so
I'll
It's
just
being weird.
unmuted.
I don't know.
It looked like you had switched the settings for a second there. Like I said, it wasn't going to let you, and then it said it would, and then it didn't. So I don't know. But if anyone's asking me what's hot for me, I'm excited about working with you guys and working with everybody. I love my job. It's really cool what I get to do. I was hanging out with one of my friends the other day, and she was job searching. And she was like scrolling through like LinkedIn and reading all the job descriptions. And every time she'd see something that seemed like remotely interesting to her, I was like, none of that sounds even remotely as cool as what I get to do. So really, I've really landed in a really awesome position for my lifestyle and all that good stuff and skill set. So I'm really happy to get to help people. But either way, I know we're obviously here to kind of talk about some targeted recruiting and some just recruiting endeavors all around. So, Andy, did you have any specific places you wanted to get started on, or any
Yeah.
routes, or do we want to just kind of dive right in?
Yeah, I want to take like maybe like 10 minutes just to kind of go over as a group some of the conversations that we've had. We all have like our individual group chats and such.
Right.
And then I've seen the reports. We've touched base quite a bit. So I kind of just want to now get everyone on the same page with where we're going with our targeted recruiting and different ways that you've noticed that maybe we can improve. I don't know if you were able to audit our process so far.
Not
Um,
entirely. I didn't get through the whole process. I think I watched like the first video, to be honest.
okay, cool. Yeah, but you've seen enough that you have like a kind of an understanding of
Yeah,
where we're going with this and what our
I
numbers
get the
look like.
path definitely more than I
Yeah.
would have prior to those conversations. So that's very helpful.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'll leave the floor with you if you want to just kind of touch base and update everyone on conversations with Libby, Carlos, and Nick in ways that maybe you think that you could be a good resource for everyone.
Sure. So the biggest goal when I was connecting with Libby was to see how we can help improve her show to training. And then I looked, and her show to training was really, really great already. So I was really happy to see that. There was even really too many people I could connect with her. If anything, I should be getting people connected with Libby to help them with their show. So in that case, the goal for improving overall show to training would probably be to make sure that the people that we're getting scheduled to begin with would be the type that would be most likely to show up and most likely to succeed, which usually means partnered recruiting. So when we talk about targeted recruiting, it's kind of like two ideas. There's targeted recruiting, and then there's like partnered recruiting. Um, and Carlos, you would be kind of the lever that we'd move for targeted recruiting. And then Nick, I'm thinking you'd be more so the person that would be best fit for partnered recruiting, which I'm sure you guys really you know what I mean by that. So for Carlos, I pulled that report from info support, which I don't know if y'all know, but you can just email info support at cutco.com or something like that, and they will send you anything that you want, any kind of data at all. And so they sent me a whole beautiful spreadsheet that broke down all the current zip codes for your office and all the schools and what they produced over X amount of time. I did notice on there, Carlos, did you get the chance to review that, by the way? Like the
Yeah, I did.
spreadsheet, you glanced at it. Did any of those really stand out? Did you have any like major takeaways? Because it's kind of a lot of info on there. I tried to like black out a lot of it to make it simple. But what were your thoughts when you saw that?
So when I looked at it, it really helped me pick out quality schools. So it showed me a lot of the numbers, and it showed me like what pretty much what schools and what areas were best when it came to numbers and CPO wise. So
Right.
for those schools, I created a list on for all the schools that Mike got assigned to his office. I pretty much got a list of those schools, and I only highlighted the ones that were seen as quality.
Okay.
So focus on those, and the rest kind of just ignore for now.
Okay. The one thing I noticed about that spreadsheet too is that it really only highlighted, from what I could see, high schools, which I don't love focusing a lot on high schools just because it's a little bit more tricky, right? A lot of them aren't in a space where they have LinkedIn, or they are, even oftentimes putting it in their bio, right? When people are in college, they want to post that everywhere. They're like, I'm so proud to be involved in that college. So it's always there. It's very clear. They're in a ton of groups. It's easy to find college students. And obviously, with high schoolers, you can really only focus on seniors and then some juniors sometimes. So one thing that I thought could be a decent action step for you coming off of our meeting today might be to do a little bit of research on those top zip codes that you found, right? The top high schools, and figure out which colleges fit within those zips as well. And then you could have some top colleges. But at the same time, a lot of territories don't even have a ton of colleges to begin with. So they just kind of focus on all colleges. Do you guys have, well, I'm sure, Carlos, you have like a list of the colleges you focus on. How many do you guys have? Do you know, like generally, or
I could double check
a
because I
ton? Okay.
Yeah, I think like it's like
We've
16 around there.
we've had a
Okay.
much higher focus on colleges than high schools so far.
Right. Right.
So I think
Which
that
makes
he's just looking
sense.
to expand a little bit, but
Right. So, I don't know why. I guess maybe I could email back info support and see, do you have any info on the colleges? But I think when I spoke with one of them on the phone, they were saying that they don't always have that data. The zip codes work a little bit better for that as opposed to colleges for some reason. I don't know. So that might be something you want to put some put a little bit of time into. It shouldn't take too long. There's websites like specifically dedicated. You just got to Google it and it'll show you like all the schools within that zip code. So maybe make a list and then figure out which ones seem like the largest schools, and then you can go after those. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea.
That'd be good. And maybe you can split like the list of high school focuses you have with like the colleges too. So if you like highlighted four maybe high schools, take out two and focus on like two of the colleges out of those zip codes, and that'll give you like a hyper focused combination of the two. So yeah, that's my thinking there for Carlos as far as action steps and things go. And then with Nick, it's a little bit trickier because Nick obviously plays a massive role managing the sales team. And I know that he also partners with Jess and doing some like team uh hub types of trainings and things. So moving that dial on some stuff is easier on than it is on others, depending on who's running what portion of training, etc. But we kind of brainstormed all different things that I know are kind of traditional recruiting methods that we take. For example, like the fast start contest, the peeler for recommending names. Something I don't think I mentioned to you, Nick, but was on my mind was if you notice that people are submitting names, but it's not enough. I think you probably heard us hear that on the region calls, like reaching out to those people. Hey, I noticed that you only submitted, 20 contacts, so and so, or, most people usually submit around 100, 150. Let's just go back and see if we can't fix that. Was there some tech issues for you there? And just kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. A lot of times they'll just resend it. And then more proactively, things like PRPCs, just taking a little extra minute with the people that you want to duplicate. Like you just said, you got like two really big studs on the team. Like how soon can you get them in to be team builders? And the easiest way sometimes to get somebody to be a team builder is often promoting the trip. But if we do promote the trip, we have to like believe in it, like we really want to get them there and partner with them to do that. So I think that could be a really great tool for you guys to utilize collectively as a team, because it sounds like it hasn't really been a focus, like those contests, especially the Cancun trip and stuff. So that's on my mind. There's a lot of different things too, but that's just the two ones that came top to mind first, right? Making sure we're getting a lot of people submitted and that we are focused on partnering with them. Even doing like, dropping it in the morning when you're like doing PDI, right? You connect with them on what you need to, and then say, hey, by the way, we're working towards Cancun. I'm really excited. Like, who's the next person that you think could be a good fit for the team? Or who's the last person you reached out to that didn't end up getting scheduled for an interview? And using it as a way to help them build that side of their job. Have you ever given, and this, I hope this isn't like this shouldn't be like a condescending question here, Nick, because I know you've run an entire district office here. You've given the team builder talk before, like the 5 reasons people want to be a team builder. Are you really like super familiar with that? Have you seen that in a while?
What I was funny because when I ran my office, I didn't run the trainings either. So I've only ran a couple trainings, and most of them were like video proctoring
Okay.
rather than So I
Let
would
me
say
drop a link to that. This could be really helpful for y'all if you run like your own team meetings or something. If you want to like, you do that, right? You
yeah,
mentioned that.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, so getting people tied into is a big part of this, and this is something that all of us can do if we ever have any contact with reps and stuff, or like even Libby, if you guys do. I don't know if you guys. I'll have to get back to that. Let me just put a pin in what I was going to say here for a second. But there's plenty of opportunity to encourage just the concept of being a team builder and the value that it brings to them. And the doc I just dropped, I think, is the most beneficial to kind of break that down and to keep it really simple, right? There's prizes, there's recognition, resume experience, advancement opportunities if they want to move up. This is a great way to stand out and earn those for themselves, as well as just building something bigger than themselves and bringing an opportunity to other people. It feels good being in a team meeting when you see your friends there. And that really fires people up, especially those sharp kids that want to be impressive to you, and also want to build their resume. And it's true, it's a really cool skill to have as a recruiter. So that definitely could be a helpful tool for you to get them excited about it, as opposed to it being like a, hey, can you do this thing for me type of deal. So that's just something I thought about there. But yeah, as far as action
Awesome,
steps
thank you.
go, yeah, of course. As far as action steps go, I would like to think that PRPCs is going to be the most proactive, hands-on way to get this done, where it doesn't really require like super consistent every single week changing something in your schedule. It's more so like, let's just make sure I can connect with a person on my team who I want to duplicate and do my absolute very best to nail home getting like three-way text sent for that or whatever needs to happen. Working through the list of people they submitted. Usually we do three-way text is usually the best. And I can always talk to you a little bit about best practices with three-way text because we have made some adjustments with that, like letting them personalize those messages and stuff, but giving them the right coaching to do that. So I think that'll be the biggest thing for you. And then hopefully between Carlos and Nick doing those things, building a team with the right people from within and also doing targeted recruiting in the top schools, hopefully that'll make Libby's job a little bit better when it comes to connecting with those people, enjoying those conversations, of course, and then also them wanting to show up because their friends are there and they have a reason to believe in the opportunity. Yeah. So that's what I've got so far off the top of my head of things I knew that would be good to kind of collectively sit on. But I'm sure there's plenty of space for like brainstorming and things too. So I'm going to stop talking for a second and see where you guys want to take this conversation.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And it's good. I'm glad that everyone's kind of hearing a little bit how everyone's roles are tying in and some of these different ideas could be implemented well. And I think that at the end of the day, like culture really starts from the top, right?
Yeah.
And like the more that each and every one of us in our own departments can kind of bring a sense of urgency and excitement and focus and make people want to be here and excited to be a part of the team, like that's really the glue that ties it all together. So Taylor Beth is wonderful in helping to come up with ideas and different ways to kind of find nuanced ways to improve. But ultimately, it all works and it all helps if each one of us, whenever we're talking to recruits, talking to each other, bring like a good sense of urgency and kind of team collaboration together. And that's like kind of turning it, I think, into a bit of a game, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, today's today. Yeah, for sure. We can like keep kind of looking to see if things work and don't work and what the stats will or won't show. But ultimately, today is Tuesday, right? And it's noon. And so, what are we going to do between now and 3 p.m.? And what are we going to do between 3 and 5? And then what's like that next time block look like? And there's always, tomorrow, okay, well, we did as much as we could, but we are in that last little stretch of our push time to really get as many recruits as we can on board on the team, excited to be here and producing as much as possible so that our team as a whole has like a good jumping off period for the end of June going into July, right?
I think all of us have had like a friend in the business at one point. That's like a big reason why they're still around or why they really
Yeah.
enjoyed that early stage process of learning. And I think that would be really, really helpful for you guys on the productivity end as well, right? All kind of trickles through, like you said. So yeah, I think there's like I said, there's like out of the three of you guys or four of you, I guess, Nick's responsibility here, in my mind, seems like the biggest one that can like have a dial that gets moved on this. Because from what it sounds like, there hasn't been like any large focus on it, but you're the one that's most connected with the people on the front lines, right? Connecting with them every day, PDI, you've got them in trainings, you've got them in advanced trainings. And so I would imagine that you have the most influence over those people as well. So, helping share your why, getting them fired up about the reason why we're all here to begin with can be good when you're giving that team builder talk as well. Yeah, I don't know. That's just some general stuff. There's lots of little
Yeah.
tidbits along the way that can be adjusted as well.
Yeah, and we had shared the Simon Sinek start with Y link. Remember that,
Oh,
guys?
yeah?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
finding something a little bit more passionate because for sure everyone wants to make money, and everyone wants to do something kind of that matters, but finding like that real deep down passionate reason when like motivation runs out and then you have discipline, what's the purpose behind the discipline? Like why
hmm
are you showing up when you don't want to? Why are you pushing through? Why are you deciding to be so happy and so enthusiastic and such a good team player, even if your teammates maybe are not kind of in that same energy or in that same zone today. And even if it looks like there's 1,000 battles and things to overcome, it's like, this is great. This is such an interesting problem to solve. Like, awesome. Let's get through it. Like, it's going to be so cool when we climb that mountain and achieve something that I didn't even think was possible beforehand. Right. And I think, especially in sales, every single one of our reps kind of has a little bit of that mentality if they're engaged enough
for
to make it
sure.
this far, because it's
Exactly.
not necessarily something that's guaranteed. No one said, oh, you're just going to, have this salary if you just show up, maybe, it's like
Right.
they're showing up in order to kind of do something a little vulnerable, like share their friends and their recommendations. And we want to make them feel super safe doing that. And also like they will be appreciated for doing that, right? Like you're providing friends and names of friends and family who might be good at this, but they're going to thank you one day because shoot, we've got their back. Like once they come on board, we have their back and we'll help show them the road on how to be successful at it.
For sure. Yeah, and just for my own clarity, because I said this earlier, but I want to make sure I'm correct. For Libby and Carlos, you guys don't really have, from what I understand, much, if any, real conversation or like influence or whatever connections with the people that are already on the team once you kind of get them through that recruiting funnel, right? You just kind of focus on that front end because that's what I do in my job anyway. So there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just trying to make sure there's not much that you guys could be doing when somebody launches out of training because you're not really in front of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, every once in a while, I'll, interact in the chat, like either their little personal coaching chat or like
Yeah.
our main group chat or whatever. Every once in a while, like, hey, yeah, nice job, or like, react like with a heart
Sure.
or something like
I do the
that.
same thing too, just to
So
kind of build some energy.
And then I actually haven't told this to Andy yet. This is just an idea, and Nick and I have been talking. So in my division, I was a part of a hub that was known more for the culture, and we did a lot of like Jackbox games and stuff like at the end of the team meeting. So we had like a little team night in, and it was pretty fun. So I was like, hey Nick, like, what do you think about? I mean, we have. I'm really excited for this upcoming training class because we actually have the percentage of sharp people, so I'm excited about it. So I was like, hey, maybe next Wednesday I could come in, to the team meeting. Everyone can actually meet me and like see my face.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could play some Jackbox games and promote that culture. So that's what I was thinking. It was an idea. I mean, Andy, I guess you're just like, that's a nice idea.
Do you mean for our team meetings, like our sales huddles, each one,
Oh,
or with
no,
the
I mean like
recruits?
for the recruits, like they have the team meetings where they phone jam every Wednesday.
Yeah. No, I think
And
that
then at the
that's
end, it's like a nice little reward, like, hey, they're done. And then, I mean, I know Nick and I talked about this, and I mean, it's up to you, Nick, but we can always, like, before the team night in, we can, set up a couple of meetings if you're comfortable with that. That's just an option. Oh, true.
love mandatory fun. Good.
Yeah.
No,
But that's just an idea.
I think it's a great idea. Definitely. I mean, because it's finding that right balance, right? Between like here's expectations and here's the standards that we each hold each other to, here's the urgency, but also like having that collective fun kind of keeps it healthy, keeps people wanting to be here, keeps people collaborating and kind of focus on the goal, right? So I think it's a great
Yeah, for
idea.
sure. And those group space, good group chats can be a good space too, obviously for like encouraging the right behaviors too. So, as Nick, start doing PRPCs or you start doing some internal recruiting and partnered recruiting, recognizing that in the chat too, right? Or even if somebody submits a lot of contacts, I guess you could say that even in training, right? Oh, great work. We saw so and so recommended a lot of friends, excited to connect with them. Here's how to handle it when people reach out, right? Letting them know how to answer those questions and things. But yeah, and when somebody gets their friends scheduled for interviews, you can hype them up for that. Always makes people feel good and gives other people who are watching a reason to follow along those same lines. And yeah, I'd love for them to see Libby, right? So they can see a recruiter and kind of get tied into the team goals as a bigger picture as opposed to their one little drop in the bucket that they get to do on a weekly basis. They can see how they fit into that bigger picture. I think that's always helpful for people. So I mean, we could talk through every single part of our recruiting week forever, but I think that those are some really good key points for each of us to work through. So let me know, Libby, if you do get the chance to see some people in person. The only other thing I'd say, if there is going to be some more influence from Carlos and Libby here, something that I kind of gave some direction to Nick on, which it could be good for him to kind of re-up on this idea too, is I always try to remind people when it comes to partnered recruiting, when people recommend names, when people do PRPCs, whatever it is, that like the right way to have those conversations. So what often happens, as you guys know, is their friends reach out. They say, "Is this legit?" Their friend's like, "Yeah." They're like, "What's the job?" They say, "We sell knives," and then they try to over-explain all the details. So I've taken it a little bit further than what we used to do, which is to tell our reps, like, "Hey, when people reach out, just like less is more. Keep it really simple and just get them connected with us." What I kind of tell them now is a little more specific as a skill set for them, which is like if you're really tied into your friends and you want what's best for them and you really want them to succeed here, the best thing you can do in their best interest is be cautious of the way that you speak about it. You're not bringing them the job, right? You're not offering them the position. You're not offering them the opportunity. You're giving them the chance for an interview. And it's really important that they present it that way because if they don't, it often sounds to them like they're being recruited onto a team because that team wants them on the team. That's what's happening, sure, but no one wants to feel like they could just walk on. Everyone wants to be on a team that they have to, work for, as you guys know. So what I usually tell the reps in advance is like, friends ask questions, keep it super simple. Please don't worry about trying to answer every question they have. Just get them connected with us. But when you do talk to them about it, just make sure you're not saying things like, yeah, you'll be doing this, this, and this, and you'll do this, this, and that. It's more so like, I do this and this, or we do this and this, and if accepted, you'll do this and this. But I can't guarantee the position. At least I can get you connected with a manager, though. So I kind of give them those two power phrases that we do this, if accepted, you'll do this, and whatever the last one I just said was, right? So I think that can be helpful if you guys do end up having conversations or being in front of people and talking about it, because it's such a slight wording approach that people take that I think just ruins a ton of people's opportunity because they're just not getting it told to them the right way, even when the rep is trying their best to be as helpful as possible, right? It's not even just about them answering the questions, it's about them saying, you'll do XYZ. That one key thing I think has been really beneficial in our pilot office with our direct recruiting, our partnered recruiting. And I think people are excited about it too, because when I explain that idea to them, they're like, oh, that makes so much sense. And it's like you're giving them a recruiting tool so early on that they can take with them, hopefully for whatever else they want to do. So it's beneficial all around. That's just me thinking big picture, sunshine and rainbows. So we'll look back in here. But yeah, Andy, anything else you wanted to cover while we had this time together here?
Yeah, no, I like that. I have an idea that I want to communicate, and I hope that this makes sense because in my brain it 1000% does. But I think we all can relate, right? To taking like a college class or a high school class, and you show up on the first day and you're like, okay, I'm in this room, and who is this person, and what are we actually going to be doing for this semester, for the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your teacher comes in out of nowhere and they kind of start to set the stage and they say, okay, here's the syllabus or here's the book that we're going to be using. And then these are going to be a general outline of your assignments that are going to be due. And we're going to have a ton of fun, but here's the expectations. Here's who I am, here's who you are. Like, let's do little introductions. And then I'm going to be there to kind of guide you along the way and coach you through your goals. You literally could otherwise just be sitting in a room for a semester or for the year with no structure and no like culture, but having those things, those expectations, and someone to kind of guide you through the process, not necessarily hold your hand because, we're all adults and they need to do their part too. But like, imagine if you're just sitting in a room and there's nobody there doing that. And then if you had like a really great teacher who you loved, like you want to be that person there. Because honestly, like anytime that I have joined an organization, joined a group, that kind of thing, I will always remember the person who brought me in, even if they did not have a lot of availability awareness or like we're in my presence for the remainder of my time there. I will always remember that person as such a special person. So Carlos and
Yeah.
Libby, that's kind of like where you come in too. And then there's the person who's there managing your time while you're there, which is then Nick. So every single one of you, I think, holds a really important place in that and kind of just tying together I'm like, because for us, it's kind of scary and it's big sometimes. Like, we have so many stats and goals that we want to accomplish, and we're just going with it each day and handling situations as they arise with the reps. But for them, they're coming in saying, who are you guys? What am I doing here? Can I really make this happen? And so
Right.
sometimes, even if it's a false confidence, just having you're going to do great. And I'm going to show you exactly how to get there. And it's okay because I got you. But also, here's some expectations that I need you to kind of help meet as well, just because in my experience that's how those people who meet those expectations are the ones who do the best, and this is super normal, happens all the time. We got you. I think like coming into it with that mindset helps their experience be better too, because you guys are the
Yeah,
culture setters, right? That's all they know from
for
Cutco.
sure. Absolutely. Agreed all around. So yeah,
Yeah, so thank you, I
of
appreciate
course.
you. Does
Yeah.
anyone have any questions for Taylor Beth before we let her go and kind of focus on upcoming goals for this week? If not, that's okay. I know there's going to be a lot of collaboration as we go. Okay, then can I get some snaps for Taylor Beth? Thank
I
you
love it.
guys.
Thanks, folks. Yeah. Let me know when you need me. We've all had individual conversations at this point, so you guys can always reach me on WhatsApp if you're curious. I just realized right now, Nick, too, I never found that Cancun official doc thing for you, so I'll have to see if I can get my hands on that.
I'll play the video and I'll just cover everything. So
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. You got what you need then. Awesome. Well, yeah, anything like that or anything else, I'd be happy to, scoop back in with you guys and or dive back in here and figure out what we can do. So y'all know where to find me. Have a great rest of your meeting and the rest of your day if there's any time left for y'all to work on the things. But I'll see you
Thank
later.
you.
Thank you,
Appreciate your.
Taylor.
Thank
you.
y'all. See ya.
All right, bye. Okay, what do we all think? Good?
Oh yeah.
I
That's
love
some
Taylor Beth.
action steps.
Good. Yay. Okay, awesome. All right, we're gonna do some quick department updates. I have our kind of overview in the all departments chat. So what I want to start with today is our SOPs. And I've talked to each of you a little bit about this individually. I have these right here in our SOP VA work, right? So that's under department heads SOPs. We're building this out right now, kind of focusing on outcomes and then actions. So I built like a little org chart, if that'll populate, right? So in essence, Carlos has taken, recruits to interview, Libby interview to training, Nick training to active rep, and then managing the active reps. And then we've just kind of been going through like what are the outcomes that we're looking for and what are the actions that support that, right? And then each of these actions, like they may then relate to a task higher up in the sheet. But this helps identify exactly what each person's responsibilities are so that we can do like a little analysis of what's being the most effective. Everyone on this team is super talented, so I don't want to have you guys focusing on stuff that maybe isn't worth your time or doing best efforts, right? So that's the first thing I want to go over. And then on the call list, we have some updates on the call list. Thank you guys for doing a great job on that so far. We made it through our mailers and our PRs from the Wix tab, so good job there. And then we did a whole section on basically out of like essentially the last month on all of these people which were already carried over. The next one is going to be issued today, and that's here in this numbers needed, right? Actually, I think I'm going to come up with a new list for call list. I'm so sorry, scratch that. Libby, I'm going to have you handle numbers needed. And what I want to do, these are the people that we had gone over before, right? All the people in red. So I started doing a couple. I made a loom and I have the VAs who are going to have this finished this afternoon. It's not done by 2 or 3. I'm just going to do it myself, honestly. But these are great opportunities for honestly like on the spot interviews. So no scheduling, no whatever. If they answer and if they're down to do an interview right then and there, great. Let's do the interview right then and there. Because we are running out of time a little bit. I'm sure you saw Mike's messages in our all departments chat as well. And so there's no reason necessarily to get them scheduled and have people continue to fall off. These people, honestly, they were within like the last month, right? So they should be fairly new. If they don't want to move forward, we're going to just archive them immediately. And then for Nick and Carlos, I'll update the call list with a separate one today of the people who maybe didn't make it that far. The numbers needed list for Libby, that's everybody who actually has completed the initial interview. So I think it's best for her to call them directly. But everybody who's gotten pretty close, that's who I'll populate on the call list later. Any questions with that? No, all good? Okay, cool. That's all that I have for you right now. Libby, I'm going to turn it over to you. I put some ideas on here, just basically your general number set for training, final interview scheduled, kind of getting the group updated, Google Voice, management email, anything that you've noticed, unless you have something specific that you want to talk about first.
Nothing specific to talk about. Anything I just really forwarded to you, like how are they missing the questionnaire? But I mean, yeah, you're right. Maybe I should just like interview them on the spot. Which I mean, I've done that to some people who like whenever I call them and I'm trying to see like, okay, what's a good time to interview? They're like, I'm good now, and I'm like, okay. So then I just interview them on the spot. So yeah, maybe just being more proactive with that part.
I think encouraging that. And honestly, like when you, even with me, when you're like, hey, Andy, do you want to just do this right now? Will you help me with this? I'm like, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, okay, like you have a good way of communicating that, I think, sometimes where, yeah, it's exciting and it sounds like fun. And why not do this and just knock it out right now? And I think if you take that approach, some people are going to say, no, I'm so busy. Like you just called me on my lunch break or whatever. But I think that you'll get more people than you would think just by saying like I have some time right now actually, like let's do it, let's go for it, kind of just assuming, playing dumb a little bit and assuming like why not, now's a great time, and seeing where it takes you.
Yeah, but that was really my main thing with the staff part. I mean, of course. Oh yeah, do you want me to, I mean, I guess I'm assuming that I'm still doing the normal call list moving forward after today. right?
Yeah, moving forward after today, but let's see how much of this list that you can get through today,
Yeah,
because this is way more important for your time and
the
attention.
more important, yeah.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right
I
on.
mean,
Yeah.
this is like the potential golden nugget of, oh my gosh, I just made it through, and here's a ton of people who are closer than anybody else that we have right now to doing the
Mhm.
final interview. Like, if you're looking for like a little golden nugget of who to be calling to get people scheduled, I think this one would be it.
I'm excited.
Awesome. And then, so numbers for where we're at right now.
We're currently at 10, right? I have an interview in 14 minutes, so hopefully that'll be 11. So I have
So,
in total 5 interviews set for today, and then let's see how many more I can get, you know, set after, calling those as well.
and then we're pushing for within 24 hours, or yeah, within 24 hours. So before we had talked about we're not relying on Calendly, right? Like instead, like we're calling them back like the minute that they're done with the initial interview, which is part of why we started like downloading the progress reports, that kind of thing. So we're pushing for getting them scheduled for a final interview, if not like immediately, then within 24 hours.
Yeah, no, I mean, I reach out to them. I just use the Calendly so they have like a reminder if I happen to set them for a date and time.
Okay. Great. Carlos, actually, let's do Nick. Nick, I put a couple notes in here from some of the stuff that we were talking about before. If you want to take it from here, little
Oh
quick
yeah.
kind of update.
Oh yeah, I've got quite a good amount. So first things first, this one's more so for Libby, right? First things first, think about like when we were a DM, right, with the post interviews, right? When you had an interview at like 3 o'clock and you had like 5 posts, right? When would you do the posts? Like how long would you wait?
Um, I mean, I would make sure I do them all the same day.
Yeah. So that's kind of the idea there, right? My thought process is on this. We did things a little different. Like Nayeli's, right? You guys don't know her, but she was the other girl. We had a text that I sent you too. If they don't pick up like for the post, like within the next 24 hours. I'm thinking we send that. If they don't pick up right after they finish the application, it shows up on your end. You check in the morning and it shows up and they finished it. You reach out to those people. If they don't pick up, you send them the text with the Calendly link to reschedule for that day or the next day. Like, and then those are the only 2 time slots. You might have to edit the Calendly.
Yeah, I probably have to edit it.
Because yeah, there's just a couple people that are booked for days in advance for a 20-minute call, and I'm
Yeah,
just
I have to edit it.
yeah, and by the way, it's nothing on you. I'm just saying that like it's just like why are people getting posted like a week out? That makes zero sense. Like DMs and regions will say like you're gonna like lose people like if you don't post them within like
Mm-hmm.
a
I
couple
agree.
hours, if not the day. They say the next day is already like bad as is. So that would be my suggestion. Now,
Yeah.
with everything else that we had discussed too, let me pull up the so I'm thinking we bring back some group interviews, right? We have the system here. We also bring back group interviews too, right? The reason being is because like I said, we're getting very like sporadic people. Sometimes we get some quality, sometimes we don't, right? But what that means is if we have group interviews, we need to have people that that means we have to go back and call people. I told Andy this, right? And so I'm gonna tell you guys. We had Jonathan. He was one of the worst qualities, right? Like low quality, I'm trying to say, not in the negative way, it was just really low quality. And he dropped after like a day of trying demos, like just ghosted. He gave us like 120 names. We had Elena. She was the potential 10K fast starter, but she's sharp. She sells. She's consistent. She's excited. She only gave us 25 names. What's the similarities between the two? They were both sent to conveyor. I would have much rather have sent Jonathan's list to conveyor and called the 25 people on Elena's list by hand myself and have some people like have some of Elena's people duplicated that we could have had in like our training versus, just like giving it by chance to conveyor. And then Jonathan's like, yeah, like it's sent to conveyor. Go ahead, because it's like focusing more on the quality, right? And then that's where I think we should have group interviews, and that could be discussed between Libby, Carlos, and I. We've all done it, right? Group interviews. I think I'm lagging. Can everyone see me still? Okay. Group interviews, right? where we have everyone like obviously in a group on Zoom, right? And those are for the people that are like the PRs, like the people we want to duplicate. And then like the conveyor names and all that go through the system. We just have both. But then we have that. So that was my thing there too. Cause it's like we have like 3 weeks left of gold period, right? This is like this is it. Like we have to do this now, right? If we're gonna do it, right? We can't just leave things up to chance now, right? And that way I can do team builder PCs, right? With Elena specifically, because I'll have to like work out with Mason about Nathan, because all of like Nathan is in the heart of Mason's territory, so all his PRs would go straight to Mason. So I'd have to work with Mason directly. But with Elena specifically, she's in the heart of our territory. Like people like that, team builder PCs, three-way text, getting them onto those group interviews, and just like starting to get people into the top of the funnel, the quality like that, instead of leaving it by chance. That's my thing there. As for CPO standing, is just like we don't have the quality right now too, and I'm not making excuses. I mean, even the low quality
We have so far as of now.
I'll have to go back and count, but it's just we have a couple reps who are very dedicated. They're just not the best. Like, I don't know if it's their networks.
Yeah.
I've talked with Rob Brandt about it, right?
Let's get that updated on the weekly reports,
yeah,
on the weekly stats.
We will. So I have a couple reps who are very dedicated, but they're not that good of reps right now, right? And big part of that's on me too. So guiding them to workshops, all that. I can go over all that, but that's not the point. We have them, right? And they could do a couple, like an order each a week, whatever. But then we have Nathan and Elena. If I could 3 to 4 orders a week, something super light, right? Builds the team. Nathan and Elena made up the entire sales report last week. And those are 2 people. If we get more people like them, that's it. Game over. That's my thought process, right? That's my thought process. Group interviews, steroid interviews. I'm gonna have to do a little old school. We don't have to do as many, right? We can be more selective with the dates and times, split them up between the 3 of us, right? But I know Libby have to go, so I'm trying to keep this quick.
Yeah.
That's
Libby
my
has
thought.
an interview in 7 minutes, so we're gonna do a little bit of a recap behind the scenes on like what that's gonna look like. Thumbs up for steroid interviews and testing the waters on that. Any concerns?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what steroid interviews are. I know the group interviews, but I don't know what steroid interviews are.
Kind of just like on the spot, we're gonna push for it. But I think that just out of the nature of the time, I'm so sorry, Nick. I think what we're gonna do is Nick and I will kind of like discuss on this, put together what that looks like as like a little outline, and then post it in the group chat. And then if you guys look it over and think it's good or have any concerns, let us know. Carlos, any updates on LinkedIn?
So far, no. We're still doing good on LinkedIn, but I do have one concern, and it's the same. I'm pretty sure I said that last week, but someone's sending messages on the weekends, and I don't know who it is.
Okay.
So that's my only concern. I already asked the VAs who's done it, and none of them have done it. So I don't know who else is doing it.
Okay.
That's my only concern.
I can help you a little bit with that. I can talk to Hannah and get like the log stats for who's working on weekends and help you troubleshoot that one.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
And then did you put in the SOP like acceptable comments to make?
Yeah, I worked on that today. So the personalized I know me and you talked about personalizing those comments, right? Or not comments, but personalizing the initial text. But yes, I did work on the comment options as well. So if you go to templates, that one is updated. So if you do 3, 2, 1 comment options, I did update it a little bit. And
I
then
don't know that we need to do 3, 2, 1 with Instagram. You if you want to think on it for the day and let me know. But remember when we were talking about those Instagram comments and where we were like, why they're just running with it?
Sorry.
Remember when we were talking yesterday about the Instagram comments that the VA was leaving, and it's like there's way too much freedom here.
Mm-hmm.
I think about if we actually need to be leaving Instagram comments at all. Like the 3, 2, 1 strategy works phenomenally well, right, for LinkedIn. but one, nice job on getting like the comment options updated. And two, I wonder, oh, we got to talk about these comment options, Carlos, actually.
Yeah.
Let's go over this together later today. Because we want it to be super professional and like no possible way that people can misconstrue. I'm questioning if we need to say don't leave comments on like on Instagram. I do have the company's Instagram account for you to be using, but honestly, Carlos, if you have time to touch base today, we can do like a little one-on-one and one nix out like the weekend VA issue and get these comments updated. Because I don't know if we should be doing some of these like
I think the comment. I think we should brainstorm in the all departments if anything.
I'm just
But
thinking like with a VA, like I don't know. I think with you it would be kind of more intuitive for like, okay, this is a person where I should say like that's fire, but I just don't I think that that could come across as inappropriate in some situations.
well,
So
depending. So the VAs they already know not to like on bikini pics and stuff like that. So I'll just make an instruction with the template. That way they know. Okay, when it comes to this certain photo, because we are looking for certain photos that they need to comment on.
I'm gonna say let's nix comments on Instagram. And then I'd like to help you come up with like 5 different comments that we can make on LinkedIn for now.
Yeah.
And
Well,
let's start with that.
LinkedIn is only like congratulations and stuff like that.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that that's more appropriate. I don't know that I'm worried that some of these are gonna kind of bite us later, but we'll talk about that later. Does anyone have any? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll circle back on this one. I appreciate you for putting in a lot of hard work on getting everything with your department sorted and you're crushing it in your VA chat. I tell everyone, I'm like, Carlos's social media VA chat is absolutely key. I've told people over at Better Than Rich, I'm like, man, if your people are not using VAs properly, someone could take a look at Carlos's social media chat because he is inspiring these people first thing in the morning, last thing before he leaves for the day. You're doing a great job with
Thank you.
it. Okay, everyone has their cares for the week. Libby's got to go. So we talked about our top dreams of what we're going to do this week. Thank you guys for doing your carries last night. Anything else you want to touch on before we let Libby go crush this final interview and then give her a whole bunch more to do?
Libby, if you need help with posts today, let Carlos and I know. We'll like everyone that's not scheduled up, we'll just give them a call and post them right then and there on the spot.
Yeah.
Thank
Posting the
you.
final interviews?
Yeah.
Just like we'll
Okay.
that way she hits her numbers and we get people on the team.
Yeah.
That way they don't schedule up. We're just like, hey dude, this is what Nick from the Game Changers, how are you? Good, and just go through it right away.
Are you okay with that, Libby?
Yeah,
Some
I
backup?
appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Carlos, we'll
Yeah,
discuss.
say let me know. Let me know when you need help with that kind of stuff. I want to yeah, let me know how many you have going. Go to your final interview. Nick and Carlos will coordinate on how to get this list tackled today. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.